This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claims School Incorporated, and it's Blog Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to speak about why liars never prosper and why a failure to tell the truth on an insurance application voids the entire policy as if it never existed. A lie on an application will always, in almost every state, allow an insurer to rescind a policy from its inception. And how did this happen? Mrs. Stevens demanded that defendant Great American Assurance Company provide legal representation for her under an insurance policy it issued related to a professional disciplinary hearing, and Great American refused and asserted that she lied on the application for insurance, causing the policy to be void. In Accent Consulting Group versus Great American, the United States District Court for the Southern District of Indiana on May 20, 2024, resolved the dispute between Ms. Stevens and her insurer. They both filed motions for summary judgment. Ms. Stevens had purchased a claims-made and reported real estate professional errors and omissions insurance policy. To receive coverage, the policy required Ms. Stevens to report in writing any claims or disciplinary actions against her during the policy period or extended reporting period. Although the policy provided for reimbursement of reasonable attorney's fees and expenses incurred in responding to a disciplinary action, the policy specifically stated that Great American, quote, shall not be obligated to defend any disciplinary action. The policy ran from April of 2020 to April of 2021. During the policy period in October of 2020, Mrs. Stevens agreed to and did perform a desktop appraisal of an Indiana single-family home. A desktop appraisal is one that is virtual and requiring a physical inspection of the property by the appraiser is not required. The next month, in November of 2020, the property's owners filed a complaint against Ms. Stevens with the Office of Indiana Attorney General. The consumer complaint alleged that Ms. Stevens' appraisal was 20% below contracted sales price and thus the sale was lost. The insurance renewal application then occurred for the next year, and Ms. Stevens applied to renew its insurance policy with Great American. The renewal application asked whether Ms. Stevens was aware of any of the following in the past 12 months, including a complaint, disciplinary action, investigation, or license suspension, revocation by any regulatory authority. She answered no. Later that autumn, on November 1, 2021, the Indiana OAG, Office of the Attorney General, filed a complaint against Ms. Stevens before the Real Estate Appraiser Licensure and Certification Board, the REAB. The Indiana OAG eventually demanded disciplinary sanctions. After the filing of the REAB complaint, Ms. Stevens requested legal representation from Great American. Great American denied the application because Ms. Stevens received the consumer complaint in November of 2020 during the first policy period, but did not report it until November of 2021, the following year during the renewal policy period. Because she was denied insurance coverage, Ms. Stevens sued Great American for breach of contract and bad faith. Great American sought to add a claim for rescission of the policy to its answer, which was granted. Great American noted that Ms. Stevens' admission that as of November 23, 2020, she had knowledge of and was aware of the allegations of the consumer complaint, The court granted the motion to amend, noting that Ms. Stevens failed to address or even allege diligence or delay on the part of Great American, and nowhere in her 22-page response was there any analysis under the rules applicable to the motion. Great American argued Stevens answered on her renewal application that she was not aware of any complaint, disciplinary action, investigation, or license suspension. Great American argued that Ms. Stevens' answer was false and material, entitling it to rescind the policy. Great American also argued that 1. Ms. Stevens' answer no on the renewal application was false because prior to executing the application, Ms. Stevens knew that the consumer complaint and the Indiana OAG's resulting investigation into this false statement was material to the risk insured by the policy. Ms. Stevens' false statement and non-disclosure was material, and it is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. In this case, the consumer complaint led directly to the Indiana OAG investigation. The Indiana OAG investigation led directly to the REAB complaint. Regardless of Ms. Stevens' intent, which Indiana law disregards, she made a material misrepresentation on the application, and her misrepresentation entitled Great American to rescind the policy. Great American's cross motion for summary judgment was granted, and conversely, Ms. Stevens' motion for summary judgment was denied. The court ordered Great American to return the premium paid and rescinded the policy from its inception. In my opinion, when a person misrepresents a material fact on an application for insurance, an insurer may rescind the policy from its inception, return the premium, and deal with the policy as if it never existed. Ms. Stevens lied on the application, and that fact required rescission. Rescission is an equitable remedy that concludes it is not fair to require an insurer to defend or indemnify an insured who obtained the insurance by a false statement on the application, because the insurer relied on that statement and would not have issued the policy as is if it had known the truth. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog and you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5 or 6 a week, and you'll have access to the more than 4,800 blog postings. You can also subscribe to these videos on rumble.com and youtube.com. They're free, and if you do, I'd appreciate clicking on the like button on YouTube and the thumbs up button on rumble.com. Please tell your friends and colleagues about this blog so that they too can subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance law, and insurance fraud, please consider, for a very small fee, subscribing to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.